Hello everyone, welcome back to Study Room. In this lecture, we will be studying about the process of excretion and the organs that are involved in it. We have a proper excretory system in our body to eliminate the waste that are produced in the body. Let us know what is excretion. Excretion is the biological process involved in the removal of harmful metabolic wastes from the body, and that is what is excretion is. Now, there are many unicellular organisms which remove these wastes by simple diffusion. But in complex multicellular organisms, there are specialized organs to perform the same function. Now we'll be talking about unicellular organisms. They have this the only one cell, okay, and this one cell is directly in contact with the environment. So what they do is they gain their nutrition directly from the environment through the process of diffusion. Okay, diffusion is a very important process that happens in unicellular organisms. So they take in the nutrition through diffusion, and they also excrete the waste that is produced in the cell. Okay, there are certain cellular activity and the cell metabolism goes inside this unicellular organisms, and the waste that are produced, okay, the waste that are produced are excreted out of the body through diffusion itself, and this happens just because the unicellular organisms, they have only one cell and the whole cell is in direct contact with the environment. Now we have the urinary system. You can see here that how the urinary system is important, and it is a very regulatory system which includes the kidneys, ureters, bladder, and urethra. The urinary or renal system maintains the body's electrolyte levels and filtrates waste from the blood. This waste is sent through the blood vessels into the kidneys and then expelled out. So this is how our urinary system or our excretory system actually works, to excrete out the waste from the body. Talking about the human excretory system, you can see here these are the kidneys. Okay, there are two kidneys. Okay, these are the kidneys, and we have the blood vessels here. You can see here the blood vessels. This is the vein and this is the artery. So this is a renal vein and this is a renal artery. We have the right kidney here. We have the left kidney here. From the kidneys, we have this tube-like structure called the ureters. Okay, these are known as the ureters, and this continue to excrete out the waste into the urinary bladder. So this is a urinary bladder. Okay, this is big bladder, and from the bladder the waste is excreted out through the urethra, and that is how it is excreted out from the body. So these are the parts of the urinary system. Okay. So up next we have the kidney kidneys and the urine production process that happens in our body. So what happens is, kidneys are located in the abdomen or on either side of the backbone. Okay, so there are two kidneys which are located on either side of the backbone, and the purpose of making urine is to filter out waste products from the blood. So the basic filtration unit in the kidneys is a cluster of very thin-walled blood capillaries, and these filtration units are called as nephrons. So somebody will ask you that what is the basic unit of filtration in the kidneys, and you will have to give the answer as they are called as nephrons. So each kidney has large number of these nephrons packed closely together. So when a large number of nephrons are packed closely, they form the kidney. The structure of kidney is actually made up of basic unit known as nephrons. So that is how the kidney is made up of. The urine produced in the kidneys passes through the ureters into the urinary bladder, and it is stored there. Okay, so what happens is the urine is stored in the urinary bladder, and then some substances in the initial filtrate such as glucose are selectively reabsorbed in the urinary bladder. The amount of water reabsorbed depends on how much excess water there is in the body and on how much of dissolved waste there is to be excreted. So that is how the urinary bladder is a very important organ which helps in the reabsorption, right? The urine forming in each kidney eventually enters a long tube called the ureter, which connects the kidneys with the urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder until the pressure of the expanded bladder leads to the urge. It passes out through urethra. Okay, so there's this urge for urination which happens when the bladder is it is excessively filled. So there, what happens is there's this when it is excessively filled, then there's this urge to urinate. Okay, there's this function. There's this signals that are sent which helps us to understand that now you have to urinate because your bladders are filled very much. Okay, so the bladder is a very muscular organ and it is under nervous control. So what happens is this is under nervous control, and the urge for urination is a nervous process. Okay, and therefore we can usually control the urge to urinate. But many a times what happens is when these nervous control malfunction, so the urge for urination we cannot control. It many a times it happens that it goes out of our control. So this whole process is based on nervous signaling and how the urge of urination is created with the help of urinary bladder when the bladder is filled so much. Okay. Next up, we have the structure of nephron. So as we know that nephron is the basic unit of the kidney, and the kidney is made up of many nephrons. So the nephron is composed of a renal corpuscle and a renal tubule. The renal corpuscle consists of a tuft of capillaries called a glomerulus and an encompassing Bowman's capsule. So we will be seeing these structures, like these are the structures that are present in the nephron. Okay, glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, and it is composed of a renal corpuscle and a renal tubule. A healthy adult has 1 to 1.5 million nephrons in each kidney. So you will be asked that how many nephrons are present in a kidney of a healthy adult, and you'll have to mention that it is 1 to 1.5 million nephrons. As you can see here, as before we discussed also the structure of nephron, we have the Bowman's capsule here. This is the Bowman's capsule. Okay, this is a glomerulus, and this is a glomerulus. Okay, this is a network of capillaries. Glomerulus is basically the network of blood capillaries. Network of capillaries. Glomerulus is basically the network of capillaries. Okay, and you can see here how these ducts are there. This nephron is there. Okay, so this is a branch of renal artery, and this is a branch of renal vein. Okay, so the renal artery and the renal vein, they are simultaneously accompanied with the ducts of the the nephron. So this is the tubular part of the nephron, and here this is the these ducts happen here, and they go simultaneously with the renal vein and the renal artery, and the urine that is produced is collected in this collecting duct. Okay, they go through this process of filtration through all these ducts, and the urine that is produced is collected in the collecting duct, and these are further transferred into the ureter and further to the urinary bladder and is excreted out through the urethra. Okay, so now we'll also be studying about artificial kidneys. So what happens is many a times the kidneys dysfunction in an organism, like in human beings also the kidneys malfunction. So when there is malfunctioning of kidneys, we have artificial kidneys, and we have this process called as hemodialysis, through which we can compensate the malfunctioning of the kidney. So what happens is the artificial kidney is a device to remove nitrogenous waste products from the blood through dialysis. This is a process called dialysis. This hemodialysis is the process. Okay, so what happens is there's this filtration of nitrogenous waste. Okay, the removal of nitrogenous waste products. The work that is done by the kidney is actually done by the artificial kidney, because the kidney which is present in our body is not working. So that is why we put this artificial kidney in place, and we try to remove the nitrogenous waste products from the blood, and the process that is involved is known as hemodialysis. So you can see here this blood is going from here through this tube, and then here this is the process. Actually the blood is going through this tube here, and then it is going through a machine called the dialyzer. Then it is going like the machine through the dialyzer, and then it is again the clear blood, nitrogenous waste product is removed. Okay, the waste product is removed and the clear blood is then again inducted into the body. So this is how the whole process of hemodialysis occur. Okay, and next now we have, when we have two choices. When our kidneys malfunction, then we have two choices. Either we can go through the we can take up the artificial kidney and we can go through the process of hemodialysis, or we can actually transplant the kidney. So the transplantation of kidney involves a process called as organ donation. So there's this donor, there's this other person who donates his kidney. Since we have two kidneys, right? So what happens then? Many times a donor donates his one kidney to the recipient. Okay, mainly what happens is many times the patient, both the kidneys of the patient fail. Okay, both the kidneys of the patient malfunction, and at that point of time what happens is that there is this donor who donates his one kidney to the patient. Since both of his kidneys are not working, so when the patient gets one kidney from the donor, it then again starts functioning. Okay, but there's this partial functioning that is going on. There's this partial excretory process that is going on, but still it works. So there's this process which is involved known as the organ donation. So organ donation is a generous act of donating an organ to a person who suffers from non-function of organ. Okay, so what happens that when this kidney failure happens, so the other person donates his organ, and that is known as, the process that is involved is called organ donation. In organ transplantation, the organ is surgically removed from one person, the organ donor, and transplanted into another person. As we discussed before, that it is transplanted, the organ transplantation procedure is going on, right? So the common transplantation that are happening nowadays are cornea transplantation, kidney transplantation, heart transplantation, liver transplantation, pancreas, lungs, intestines, and bone marrow transplantation. So the transplantation of all these organs are going on, and these are very, very popular transplantations that are happening nowadays. Most organ and tissues donations occur just after the donor has died, or when a doctor declares a person as brain dead. Okay, so when a person is declared brain dead or he dies, just immediately after that, the tissues and the organs are extracted from his body and are transplanted into the recipient, or is transplanted into the patient. But some organs such as kidney, part of a liver, lung, etc., and tissues can be donated while the donor is alive also. Since we said that we have two kidneys, so we can donate one kidney and the other person can definitely live after that, continue living his normal life after that. So these are the organs, like this kidney. Then we can donate a part of our liver, and we can also donate our lung, because we have two lungs, right? So all that organs that we have two in number, and also the liver. Since we have liver, we have a very large organ. Liver is a very large organ that is present in our body, so we can definitely donate a part of the liver. And when we donate a part of the liver, the part that is transplanted in the patient, that part continues growing, and then liver is a regenerating organ. Okay, so it continues growing and it functions well in the patient. So that is how this whole process of transplantation goes on, even if the donor is alive. Next up, we have the excretion in plants. Now, up till now, we were talking about the excretion in human beings. Now, we will be talking about the excretion in plants. So, plants do not have a special excretory organ, but the excess of carbon dioxide and oxygen are excreted from the plant through the stomata in leaves. So, we have talked about the stomata. We have these stomatal pores in the leaves. Okay, these are which are made with the guard cells. Okay, these are the guard cells. Okay, so these are the guard cells, and this is the stomatal pore. Okay, this is a stomatal pore. So this stomatal pore, from this stomatal pore, the carbon dioxide and the oxygen are excreted out of the leaves. So the excess water is also removed through transpiration. Transpiration is a process which involves the evaporation of water from the aerial parts of the plant, and that is how the excess water from the plant is also removed. Apart from those waste, what can plants do is, plants can store the waste products in cellular vacuoles. Okay, if they have the plant cells, they have this in plant cells they have this large vacuole. Okay, this large vacuole where they can actually store the waste products. Okay, and then lose those parts such as leaves. Okay, in leaves, the cells of the leaves, they have large vacuoles, and these vacuoles store the cellular waste products, and then when they are shed off, the leaves are shed off, they can just get rid of those waste. Okay, and the waste products are also stored as resins and gums, as we can extract resins and gums. So these are actually the waste products of the plants, and these are regularly oozed out of the plants. Plants can also excrete some waste substances into the soil around them. Also, they can excrete, they can excrete the waste substances into the soil. These are the processes by which plants excrete the waste materials. And the questions one by one. For question number 1, we have describe the structure and functioning of nephrons. Okay, so what we have already discussed the structure of nephrons. So there is this network of capillaries known as glomerulus. Then we have the Bowman's capsule. We have the tubules of the nephron, which also is accompanied by the simultaneous supply of renal vein and renal artery. And then we had the collecting duct, where the urine is collected, and then it further goes into the ureters to the urinary bladder, and from there it is excreted out of the body through the urethra. So that is how this whole functioning happens. But basically, talking about the structure of nephrons, there are 4 things that we need to state, that are glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, tubules, renal vein, renal artery, and the collecting duct. Okay, and also what are the functions? The functioning of nephrons is very easy. That there is a selective reabsorption and secretion of substances happen in nephrons. So this is basically the function of nephrons. For the next question, we have, what are the methods used by plants to get rid of excretory products? So the methods that are used are already discussed, that are transpiration, oxygen elimination through stomata, vacuolar concentration of substrates, the substrate, the excretory products are collected in the vacuoles of the leaves, and then the leaves are shed off, and then they lose the excretory product that way, and also through the shedding of leaves, as we discussed before, right? Next up, we have the last question, that is how is the amount of urine produced regulated? Okay, so the amount of urine produced is regulated through hormones such as vasopressin and aldosterone. You need to remember these 2 hormones, hormones. Okay, and what are the 2 hormones? The 2 hormones are vasopressin. Okay, the vasopressin and aldosterone. Okay, these are the 2 hormones, and it also depends, if amount of urine produced is also depends on the amount of water required by the body. So how much water you drink, that also is a factor in regulating the amount of urine produced in the body. So that's all for the process of excretion. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Thank you so much, everybody.